The stitches used in this project will include a chain, a double crochet, invisible decrease, double crochet, increase, invisible decrease, increase, and a single crochet. To make the Labubu Panda costume, we'll be using white and black yarn that fit a 3.5mm crochet hook. We have stitch markers, a pair of scissors, darning needle, fabric glue, knitting needles that are small in size, and here we have plastic round eyes and oval. The oval one we'll be using for our nose. In this video, we'll be using this all-purpose Labubu hoodie. You can find how to make this in our videos in the crochet playlist. Now we're going to make the ears for the panda. We're going to start with a magic circle. And inside our magic circle, we're going to do 6 single crochets. Just going to tighten that up a little bit. And then start with our 6 single crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we're going to grab our tail and pull all of our crochets together. Next, we're going to do 6 increases. Let's do our first single crochet and add our stitch marker. We're going to place that right into that first single crochet. Then in the same stitch, we're going to do another single crochet, which makes our increase. And then again, in the next stitch, we're going to do an increase, which is 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. Then again, in that third stitch, we're going to do an increase. In the fourth stitch, an increase. The fifth stitch, an increase. And finally, in the sixth stitch, our last increase. And here we should have 12 crochets. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then we're going to move on to do 12 single crochets all the way around. There's 1. We're going to put our stitch marker in there. 2, 3, 12. And this completes our ear. It should be folding a little bit. So we're going to pull out our yarn and cut our working yarn. I'm going to cut this beginning tail a little bit. And here we're going to do our little fake stitch. Going to get our darning needle, move our hook to the side, skip a stitch, go into the next stitch, and then go back into the original stitch. Then you can see our little stitch that we made right here. And then we're going to tuck the ends in. And I'm just going to cut that. And now we're done with our ear. And for the ear, we're going to make 2 of them because the panda has 2 ears. For the eye, we're going to use this larger yarn so it's easier to see. We're going to start with 3 chains. We have our slip knot, and then 1, 2, and 3 chains. And then we're going to make a single crochet in this next stitch. And we're going to put our stitch marker on there. And in this top chain, we're going to do 3 single crochets. There's 1, 2, and then 3. And then in this last chain, we're going to do a single crochet. And we're basically done with our eye. We're going to pull out our yarn. I'm going to take our darning needle. Rather than making the fake chain that we normally do at the end, we're going to just go through the next stitch and just pull the ends together. And then weave the ends in. And then here we could tie our ends together. And then cut them off. Our stitch marker, and then we have our eye. So it looks kind of like a drop shape. And that's our panda eye, and we're going to make 2 of these. Here are the completed panda eye patches, and I put some glue right up on top. And now I'm going to get the flat back eyes and place it right on top of the glue. I should probably be using tweezers for this, but I'm just going to use my fingers. Now it's placed on top of the glue, and I'm going to get the other eye. And then I'm just going to place it right on top for the other side. And now we're finished with our panda eyes. So now we're ready to attach our ears, our eyes, and our nose to our hoodie. For the panda's ear, I like to place the end of it around the 3rd stitch of the Labubu ear opening. So there's 1, 2, 3. And I like to place the end of it right around there. And then I'm going to sew it on using these top loops of the ear and these single crochets. For the front of the ear portion, I'm going to use those front loops on the ear, and then I'm going to sew it in the upper portion of these double crochets. So it won't be round open, but it'll be in half, and it'll be sewn on like this. I'm going to secure the ears in place using this knitting needle. It's a small one, but it should work fine. And then I'm going to get the other ear and do the same thing, going this way, 1, 2, 3, and that's where the end of the ear will go. And I'll get the other knitting needle. So we have our ears in place, and we're holding them using these knitting needles. I'm going to use white yarn so that you can see how we're stitching the ears. But in the end, we're going to use the black yarn. And I'm going to start in these double crochets that begin before the single crochets. So I'm going to place it underneath the hoodie and into the double crochet right here. And then I'm going to go into this outside loop on the ear. And then I'm going to go into the outside loop on the next ear and into the double crochet. So I want to have enough yarn so that it could go around the ear. Then I'm going to go back up into the hoodie and go into that single crochet. And then I'm going to go into the outer loop of the next stitch. And then I'm going to go back into the outer loop of the following stitch and into the single crochet. Then I'm going to go back up into, I can remove this now. Then I'm going to go back up into that single crochet here and then go into the next loop on the ear. So into this loop here. And then we're going to go into the next loop. And here we're going to go into the double crochet right here. And then we're going to go back up into the next double crochet. We're going to go into this front loop. And then down the next loop on the ear and into the double crochet on the hoodie. And then back up into the double crochet in the hoodie, and then into the front loop of the ear, and then down in the loop of the ear into the double crochet. And then we're going to go back up into the double crochet and then into the loop of the ear. And then finally we're going to go down this last stitch on the ear into the double crochet. And then we're finished adding on our ear to our hoodie. On the inside here, our two ends should be close together, so we can just tie it and then put it in a knot. And then we can just cut off our yarn. And then we're done with this ear, and we're going to move on to the next ear. So when you do the black on the ears, you can see the stitch pattern in the back. So it just kind of goes around. Now that we have our ears sewn on, we're ready to add our eyes. The eyes can go, wherever you like. Sometimes I like to have it flushed with the ears, so kind of like this, and I like them pointing down, so kind of like that. But you can put them closer together if you want to, or further apart, wherever you'd like. But I think I'll just put them right around here. And so I'll go get the glue and put them on. So here we have one of the eyes. I have the glue on the back. I'm going to place it right around here. So it's kind of on this second set of double crochets aligned with the ear, kind of going downwards. And I have the other eye. And then I'm going to place it around that same area so that they look the same. And then for our nose, we have our glue on there, and we're going to put it right between the eyes. So there's, looks like it's in the middle. There's 1, 2 stitches, 1, 2 stitches, and right in the middle of those 4 stitches that are between the eyes, we're going to place the nose. And right on that line of where the 2 double crochets meet. I think that looks pretty cute, but you can put them wherever you like. And then we're done with the panda hoodie. To make the panda suit, we're going to start with the leg. The leg is going to be black, so we're going to use our black yarn. We're going to start with 17 chains. Here's our slip knot, and we're going to make 17 chains. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 chains. Then we're going to put them in a circle. We're going to bring it around to that first chain, and we're going to go in to that first chain and make a slip stitch. And then we're going to start with single crochets, and we're going to make 17 of them all the way around. There's our first single crochet. We're going to put our stitch marker in that crochet. And there's 2, 3, 4. We're on our last single crochet, number 17. And then we're going to pull our yarn through, cut that off, pull it all the way through. And now we're going to turn our circle around because we want the side to be up, which is the front side of the crochet. And this will look like little V's, and the other side will look like little pie symbols. So this will be the right side up. And now we're going to make our fake little stitch. We're going to get our darning needle. We're going to skip a stitch, go into the next one, and then go back into that first stitch in between the 2 loops. And then we're going to weave in our tail. I'm going to cut that. And then we're also going to weave in the bottom of the leg. Just going to go in through 1 of the stitches and then weave it through on the back. Then we're going to cut that off. And now we're finished with the first leg, bottom part of the leg for our panda suit. And this side where we started the chains is going to be the side that goes down. And this will be the top side where we can see our single crochets. And we're going to make 2 of these. We're going to start by putting our 2 legs together. We can start right where the leg ends, or you can just choose any stitch. So here I'm going to choose where the leg ends on this side, and I'm going to find the same place on this side and put the 2 stitches on the hook. Then I'm going to get the black yarn. I'm going to place it on the hook. Then we're going to pull through both of the stitches and then make a slip stitch. Then we're going to go back into the same set of stitches and make a single crochet. Then we're going to go into the next set of stitches and make another single crochet. And here on the 3rd stitch, we're going to do our color change. So we're going to go through both of the stitches, yarn over, pull through, and now we have 2 loops on our hook. We're going to get our white yarn, place it on the hook, pull through both of the loops. Then we're going to make a single crochet in the leg. So we're going to go on this leg here and make a single crochet. And this will be the beginning of our row. And here we're going to add a stitch marker to our first stitch here. And then we're going to continue all the way around our legs. But since we won't be using the black yarn for a while, we can just cut it and get it out of the way. And then we're going to go make our second crochet, and we're just going to continue doing this all the way around both of the legs. And here we are on the last stitch of our first leg. So after that last stitch, we're going to go into the middle here, the slip stitch that we made. So we're going to go into the middle stitch here. This way we don't have a gap in the middle. And make a single crochet. And then we're just going to go to the next leg and start as usual, making our single crochets. We just finished the last stitch on this other leg, and then we're going to go into the middle stitch. So now we're done with this row. Let's count our crochets. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and number 30. And now we're ready for our next row. we're going to start with 7 single crochets. So here we have 1. We're going to add our stitch marker. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and number 7. And now we're going to work on our double crochets, and this will be for the back of our panda suit. So there's 1, 2. We'll be making a total of 16 of these. 3, 4, 15, and here we are on our last double crochet, number 16. And now we're going to go back into 7 single crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and number 7. And let's count our crochets. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30 crochets. So now we're ready to work on our next row. For rows 4, 5, and 6, we're going to do the same stitches as previously all the way around. So here we're going to mark each row with the stitch marker, and at the end we should have 3 stitch markers. We're going to start with our first single crochet, and then we're going to start with our red stitch marker. Then we're just going to continue making our single crochets. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the double crochets will start. We're going to make this double crochets, and we're going to do them 16 times, and then we're going to go back down with 7 single crochets, and we're going to continue those for the next 3 rounds. We just finished our 16th double crochet, and now we're going to go down to our 7 single crochets. And now we're on the final crochet of the 3 rows we've been repeating, rows number 4, 5, and 6. And on the back you can see the rows that we've been repeating with the double crochets. We have row number 6, number 5, and number 4. And this is the row number 3, which was the row that we were copying.
And here we're going to do our color change. So we're going to start with 3 single crochets, and on the 4th we're going to do our color change. So there's our first single crochet, second, third. So we're going to finish our 3rd crochet all the way through. And now for our 4th crochet, we're going to lift this little loop up. Then we're going to go into these 2 loops here. This is a different way of doing a color change that I've seen several people do, and it looked pretty good. So let's try it. So we're going to put this loop on the hook and then pull it through these 2 loops. And now we have our black yarn through, and now we're going to go into the stitch. Well, you can do it before too, but since I already have it in the stitch, and now I'm going to pull this white yarn to pull this loop through that we left.
As we pull this white yarn, you'll see this loop go down and it will tighten on the black yarn.
So now we have our black yarn in, and we're going to finish our 4th crochet. Basically we're just crocheting as normal, and then from here we're going to do our strap of 6 chains. So then we're going to skip 3 stitches, and then in this stitch here we're going to do a single crochet, and in this next stitch we're going to do a double crochet, and we're going to do 5 of them. So there's 1, and on the next one 2, 3, 4, oops, 4, and this our 5th double crochet. Here with the white one, we can cut this off, but I'm just going to leave it on that side for now. And in this next stitch we're going to do a double crochet decrease. We're going to yarn over, then go through 1 loop, and then through the next loop. Then we're going to yarn over, pull through both loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over, pull over the last 2 loops. Then we're going to do 1 more decrease. So yarn over through the 2 loops, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And now we're going to continue with 5 double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we're going to go down to a slip stitch, and then here we're going to do 6 chains for the other strap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And here we're going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do a single crochet, and then 3 more single crochets. There's 1, 2, and 3. And now we can count our crochets. And here, since we're done with our white yarn and we won't be going to it anytime soon, we can cut it off. And then we'll tuck in the tails later. So let's count our crochets. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, and 34.
For this row, we're going to start with our single crochets. There's one. Let's put our stitch marker on that first single crochet. We have 2, 3, and 4.
And then we're going to do our 6 chains. There's 1. We're doing single crochets of these 6 chains. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then here we're going to do a double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, make a double crochet, and we're going to do this a total of 3 times. There's our second and our third. And now we're going to do a decrease. So we're going to yarn over, go through the 2 loops, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. We're going to do another one. And one more for a total of 3 decreases. And then we're going to do 3 double crochets. There's 1, 2, and 3 double crochets. And then we're going to do a slip stitch. And then we're going to do our 6 single crochets on our strap. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to do a single crochet. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and we can count our crochets. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. So for our last row, we're going to do 30 single crochets all the way around. There's one. Let's get our stitch marker. 2, 3, 4.
Here we're at stitch number 24, and we're going to stop at number 26 so that we can end at the end of the strap right here. So this is going to be number 26 where we're going to stop. So here's number 25 and number 26. We're going to finish up the stitch. And then here we're going to pull our yarn and cut our working yarn. And then we're going to pull that through. And then we're going to finish it off by making the fake stitch. Next, we're going to put our darning needle through. Then we're going to skip one stitch and go into the other. And then we're going to go back into the original stitch, but into the back loop. We're going to make sure that all of our stitches blend in, and then we're going to weave in our ends. After we've completed weaving in the ends, we're going to cut our yarn, and then all we have left to do is to work on the sleeves. Now we're going to work on the sleeve. I've already completed the other sleeve, but it was hard to see, so let's try on this arm.
So here I'm going to show the stitches that we're going to use to make our sleeve. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then we'll be at number 1 again. So we're going to use these stitches to make our sleeve. So we're going to start with this crochet at the end under the arm. We're going to make a slip stitch, then go back in to make a single crochet. And that will be our first crochet. We're going to put our stitch marker in there. And then we have 2. I'm going to put this tail in the inside. So we have number 2, 3, 4, 5, 'Here we have number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and here is number 12. And then we're going to make another row of the 12 stitches. Move our stitch marker. So we're going to start with number 1. Put in our stitch marker. 2, 3, and number 12. For our next row, we're going to do 2 single crochets and a decrease. We're going to start with our first single crochet, and then we're going to put a stitch in there, our stitch marker, and our second crochet, and then we're going to do a decrease, we're going to do another single crochet, second single crochet, and a decrease, then single crochet, single crochet, and a decrease. Now we're finished with our sleeve. We're going to cut the yarn, and then here we're just going to finish it off with our little stitch that we like to make. So here we have a darning needle. Oh, let's count our crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So we have our darning needle. We're going to skip a stitch, go through the next, and then back into the original on the back loop. And then we're going to weave in our end. And then we're going to cut that.
And now that we finished both of the sleeves, we're finished with our panda outfit. And this is what it looks like with the larger yarn that's visible. And this is what it looks like with the smaller yarn that fits the Labubu. But before we reveal our outfit, we're going to add a tail and make some optional shoes.
For the tail, we're going to start with a magic circle. And inside this magic circle, we're going to do 6 single crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we're going to pull our tail to bring all of the stitches together. For the next 2 rows, we're just going to repeat the 6 single crochets all the way around. There's 1, 2, 3, and 6. Then we're going to repeat that again. There's 1, add our stitch marker, put the tail right side up, number 6. Then we're going to cut our yarn, pull it out. I'm going to cut this middle yarn here. Then we're going to take our darning needle, thread it through, remove the stitch marker. Then we're just going to go into the next stitch and connect the circle together. Then I'm just going to weave in the tail. And now we're done with the panda tail, and we're going to attach it to the panda outfit. To attach the tail, we can either sew it on or glue it on. I think it's easier to just glue it on because the stitches are so close together. So we're going to go into the second row of white double crochets and just place it on there. We're going to get our glue and just put it on top of the stitches. And then we're just going to place it right on here. And then we're done with our tail. To make the shoes, we're going to start with 6 chains. We're going to make our slip stitch and then 6 chains. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we're going to do 4 single crochets. There's 1. I'm going to put in our stitch marker. 2, 3, and 4. Then we're going to do an increase in this top stitch. 1, 2. Then we're going to do 3 single crochets. There's 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to end with an increase. 1 and 2. Let's count our crochets. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. For our next row, we're going to start with an increase. There's our first single crochet. There's our increase with the second single crochet in the same stitch. Then we're going to do 3 single crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, and then 2 increases. There's 1, 2 for an increase. And then in this stitch, we're going to do another increase. And then we're going to do 4 single crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to do an increase. Okay, let's count our crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. For our next row, we're going to start with 4 single crochets. There's 1. Let's put in our stitch marker. There's 2. There's 3 and 4. Then we're going to do a decrease. So let's turn our shoe around. So we're going to do a decrease. And then 3 single crochets. There's 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to do another decrease. And then 2 single crochets. There's 1, 2. And then we're going to end with a decrease. Oops, let's try that again. And let's count our crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. For the next row, we're going to start with 2 single crochets. There's 1. Let's put in our stitch marker. There's 2. And then we're going to do a decrease. Then we're going to do 2 single crochets. There's 1, 2. And then we're going to do a decrease. And then 2 single crochets. There's 1, 2. And then we're going to end with a decrease. Let's count our crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Then we're going to pull out the yarn. Make sure you cut it. I'm going to cut this shorter. This is just the end piece. And then we're going to get our darning needle. We're going to skip a stitch, go into that next stitch, and back into that original stitch in the inner loop, and then we're going to weave our end through. I'm going to cut it. And now we're done with our panda feet, our Labubu shoe. We have our Labubu and our panda suit. We're going to stick her right inside. get her arms in the sleeves. I'll pull the back up. Make sure it's up high enough. The arms are nice and out. And the feet are showing. Okay, so now we have her dressed up in the panda suit. And here we have our panda hoodie. We're going to slip that right over her ears. And then bring out the key ring. We're going to straighten that out. And then tie the bottom. And once we have our little tie done, we're basically done with her panda suit. She looks pretty cute. But if you want, you can add these little shoes to make her have panda feet. And then we have the other side.
And now we have both of her panda feet on, and we're ready to hang her on our bag with her new panda outfit. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I know they're kind of long, and I hope you'll make this panda outfit for your Labubu. And if you can, hit that like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Have a wonderful day.